Let's try it one more time. Why do people like consuming media? Thanks for sharing the curiosity of why do people like consuming media? I love consuming media. It's what drove the spark of my intrigue into a roaring fire of passion for hearing how media shapes our days, weeks, months, and years. Whether it's relaxing to a good movie, scrolling our algorithmically generated feed, watching a detailed walkthrough instructional video, immersing yourself in a world of a role-playing game, rocking out to a backing track, listening to the latest uploaded podcasts from your favorite few people, designing the best set of artistically crafted images, attending gatherings of cultural significance, or sharing clever clips and phrases online for friends and strangers, family and haters to see. Awesome. I think I got it.
So, this is Ethan Warnicki, my brother, and he is 11 years younger than I am, making him 16. So, Ethan, how many hours a day would you say you consume media in a general, everyday kind of thing?
It varies. Say like a minimum 3 hours up to maybe 6 or 7 hours depending on the day, on the weekends or school days.
And is that up from any point in time? Like, is that kind of the way it's been for the last number of years, or?
Well, quarantine it's gone up because I can't really go outside as much as I'd like. But then, yeah, also over the years, I guess it's gone up a little bit. Yeah.
Who are your favorite creators and what makes them special?
That's a tough question because I feel like I watch a lot of creators across a whole lot of genres. I'd say right now one of my favorite creators is Corridor and Corridor Digital. They do a bunch of VFX stuff, which I find pretty interesting. And it's a whole crew of them. It's about 10 guys, and they all do YouTube videos, and I find them pretty interesting.
And they're more enticing to watch than other people because...
Well, I feel like because they do a whole bunch of different stuff, they're not kind of stuck into one sort of thing like a lot of creators. They just kind of mess around and do games and stuff, and they do kind of all over the place.
Sounds like you're always surprised by their content, maybe?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a new experience watching their videos every time. It's not the same repetition.
Like, I think of like Linus Tech Tips, where it's very repetitive.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which you do spend a lot of time watching, so that's not to say that.
Yeah, I watch Linus as well a lot. He's a good creator.
Yeah.
I like him because he's a good balance between like learning and information, and also humor and all that kind of stuff. And so it feels like you're not wasting your time watching them because you're learning a lot of stuff, but you're also having a lot of fun watching them at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're watching media like 7 hours a day,
Yeah.
is that just like incrementally chipped away throughout the day, or is that like, it's probably not strapping yourself down to the chair and watching all the
Yeah.
show,
Yeah, well, when on school days, I'm at school for like half of the day, so then that's a bunch of my time that I'm not watching any media. But then when I get home, I probably sit on the couch for, I don't know, however, like maybe an hour, just kind of relaxing, and then get schoolwork done, and then towards the end of the day, then I watch a bit more. Yeah.
So the next question is, when do you turn media off?
I would say like I try like about maybe an hour, half an hour before bed. That's around just trying to turn my brain off is the usual. Or during family time, try and stay off.
Dinner table?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
The next question, how do you see your peers' consumption of media affecting their lives?
Um, I guess during school hours, I feel like a lot of my peers kind of let go and like a lot like go on social media during school, and so that can sometimes affect their schoolwork because they're distracted and wanting to watch stuff, and hard for teachers as well if all the kids are on their phones just watching YouTube or whatever.
So there's a disconnect from the learning then?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's without that self-control, it can be kind of hard to learn in the classroom. Yeah.
Outside of school?
Outside of school,
Oh, these days, because
yeah, totally. But I guess like when hanging out with friends, um, a lot of times it's just like watching YouTube videos instead of actually hanging out with each other. And so then there's more disconnect there with relationships and all that stuff. Yeah.
you'd say it's detrimental in some ways.
Yeah.
Are there good aspects of it? Like, are you guys like
Uh,
or like that kind of stuff?
well, yeah, I know like a lot of friends that we watch YouTube together. It's just then when you're watching separately, then it's kind of disconnected and you're in your own worlds. But you can have channels that bring relationships closer together because you both enjoy the same kind of content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say that like that 3 to 7 hours is pretty typical of people your age?
Yeah, that's probably medium, probably like around 5 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely when not quarantined, that's probably a lot lower. Just being able to go out and movies and stuff or whatever, going shopping. Yeah.
So, hello, this is Ander Melrose. To get things started, how many hours a day would you say you consume media of any kind?
Um, well, that really depends on the day. But on average, I don't know, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 hours. If we count my online courses, then that adds an extra 3 hours roughly a day to do that. But I don't think I would necessarily consider reading articles for 3 hours to be media per se.
Who are your favorite creators and what makes them special?
I wouldn't really say I've got a bunch of favorite creators, really. I mean, like for example, on like my Instagram and stuff, I try to stay away from any of the meme pages or any of the other, celebrity pages and stuff like that. I don't kind of are on the same spectrum of interests of me. So I follow a couple like different climbers. I follow a couple different motorcycle shops. I follow a woodworking guy. Yeah, I just follow things that I find interesting. That well, the things that I find cool and interesting.
Are there any precautionary measures you set up for yourself to not be scrolling for hours on end?
I mean, that depends. I've definitely done a good job at procrastinating when I really shouldn't. I'm not bad at finding some stupid videos and just watching that for a while when I should be doing something else. Yeah, I don't really impose many rules. I just kind of try not to overdo it, so rather than, give myself just an hour or two, I just won't play video games when I've got other things to do. Because I know if I start, then I won't want to stop. So I just won't do it at all.
I was trying to see if people like take a break after 2 hours of looking at their screen nonstop, that kind of stuff.
I mean, the only time I do that is when I'm if I'm studying and like reading papers or writing a paper or something like that, then generally I'll kind of take a quick little break every couple of hours. I mean, really the only time that I spend exorbitant amounts of time on social media is when I'm just bored and have like nothing else to do. You know.
This is where we pivot to talking about peers a little bit and where you see people that you consider your peer. How do you see peers' consumption of media affecting their lives?
Yeah, I don't think it's as big of a deal as a lot of other people might think. You know, sometimes people spend a bit too much time, and I think a lot of times people are cognizant of it. So like every so often I'll have friends who are like, oh, well, I'm getting off Facebook. I'm not going to be on Facebook anymore. Because there is all those negative aspects of, you know, all the beauty standards and the snapshots of life, which makes it seem like everybody's life is so much better than it actually is. You know, I can show you all my snapshots of when I had a great time, but what I don't post on social media is part of real life. And when all you see are those snapshots, you kind of get, it can mess with your mental health. I don't think people are too bad with it nowadays. I think people are cognizant of it, which is a big difference. You know, I think when Facebook and all that stuff started coming out, everyone kind of just jumped in head first and didn't really think too much of the psychological kind of aspect of it.
Yeah, thank you for your perspective. That's really helpful. Now,
Oh yeah, we're recording.
awesome.
Sweet.
So this is Jeffrey Renaud. If you don't know, he's a pastor in the Langley area of Vancouver, British Columbia, and he's a huge Calgary Flames fan and an all-around cool guy.
Thanks, man.
So I'm going to get into the questions. The first one being, how many hours a day would you say you consume like media?
Whew, how many hours a day cumulative? I would say 2 to 3. Weekends might be a little bit more, but that's if we watch a movie with the family. But I would say on average 2 to 3 hours a day.
Who are your favorite people to watch? Like content creators, sorry.
To be honest, lately I've been watching a lot of Pixar movies with the kids, and they've just been really good. So I don't know who produces them, but for instance, we watched Soul. I don't know who directed that, but they do a really good job with those, as well as speaking to a very wide age group too.
Yeah.
Martin, what's his name? Martin Scorsese. Yes, that's one of the guys who I really enjoy, and I really, really enjoyed just his genre and his way of kind of taking life or thinking about life as well. So I'd say those two come to mind. And I'm also, I don't know if books count as media, but reading Harry Potter with 2 of my kids right now. Yeah. And we're all somewhere in the middle of the series. And so that has been a fun influence just as far as, I wouldn't call it escapism, but just as far as entertainment, I would say for us as well. So those are some. I've also got some pastors that I listen to on podcasts and stuff, but I could probably, name 10 right now, but yeah, that's generally what I do.
It says here, where do you watch your media? Do you have any rules or patterns in how you watch your media? Like, are you setting up because you said 2 hours a day usually. If you find yourself at like 3 or 4 hours a day, do you have any sort of like precautionary?
Yeah, I try to turn notifications off. And that's a big one for me, just so that my media doesn't lead me, but I choose when I go into it, especially for something like Facebook, I don't have like, oh, somebody liked your photo. And then I got to go, oh, what photo did I post? And I try to stay away from that. So that's one area for sure that I do, is just turn notifications off, and therefore I lead the way. Whenever I go to bed, I really try to make sure that I just keep my phone on airplane mode and read. To be honest, it's a wasted time for me too. So I do that sometimes and I regret it. So I'm like, oh, why did I waste my time on Facebook or something like that? So I find that my eyes hurt when I do that sometimes. So I realize again, I'm like, oh, why did I do that? So I don't do it nearly as much anymore, but yeah, once in a while.
So that 10:30 or so, because my next question was when do you turn the media off, but it kind of just rolled into that naturally, right? Like,
yeah, the last part of the day for an hour or less, when all the kids are at least either asleep or in the rooms getting ready for bed. So that's kind of the end of the day as we watch a show together, and then I go to bed about 10:30, and that's when I try to read and not do anything else.
How do you think their approach to media affects their lives?
I think it's quite divided. And I'm thinking maybe towards social media more, because I think that's really the prevalent place that people park themselves in these days. And I think it's quite divided. So there's some who are like never really on Facebook. If they post, it's like twice a year sort of thing. And it's like the other ones, I think, are quite inundated with it and don't realize it as well. So if you text them, they'll text back within, like, you can guarantee it 6 or 7 seconds or something like that. They post all day. They'll like something right away. So in other words, they're just immersed in it. And I think it's because of notifications and things, but they wouldn't really think about the effects that it has on them as well. So being immersed in social media, for instance, doesn't really have an age barrier. It transcends all ages, and for the 16-year-olds as well as the 45, 46, 50-year-olds, all that kind of stuff, it's the same.
I mean, not like cool, because I mean, like how scary is that, right?
Totally. I get it. Yeah. I know you would think that with age, I think maybe getting at that question, you think with age, people would understand themselves and understand the effect of it. I don't know if that's true in regards to social media. I don't think there's as many binge watchers of TV or podcasts or other media sources. I think social media is the one area that people don't necessarily have a handle on, whatever age they are.
It's like a handle on turning it off, you mean, right? Like,
exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. A handle on like when to turn it off, when to turn it on.
So there's kind of two camps you see then, like the haves and the have-nots almost.
Big time. Yeah. And it's not like one is completely addicted and one is completely off. There are, many somewhere between those two barriers, or extremes, I should say. But I do see a lot of friends in my age group who are on that higher end, I would say. They're not all on the extreme, but a lot of them are on the higher end of being immersed in it and don't know that they are. I think we tend to think sometimes of media as a very negative influence, or a negative, it's a bad thing in our lives. And it can be, for sure. And there's issues of addiction and anxiety, self-image, all those things can be affected. But I think even for sure, you've listed some redeeming qualities and redeeming uses of media as well. I just read some on Facebook that I'm a part of a group, this dog group, and someone said, "Hey, can you show me where does anyone know a person that I can have train my dog how to walk properly?" And someone just said on there right away, YouTube. And it's so true. They said, like, why pay for an expensive trainer when you can get it on YouTube? I've learned how to do things on my car because of that. And so that's a really good way. Podcasts, like you said, like that's a really good way and usage for it. I think to villainize media is wrong, but I think we have to be aware of it. And
the last one I just did was super personal because I'm an avid Twitter user. So I've got like 75,000 tweets or something right now.
Wow.
Since 2011. So it roughs out to be like 7 a day or something like that.
I'm just generally, more private that way, but I love it when people post a poem. I love when people do what you do. And I love to read those things. So I love to receive. I'm just not a very good poet, I should say. But I think that's a great way. I think vulnerability to the right people is a beautiful way to use media as well.
I learned a lot from doing this exercise and exploring the intricacies of why people enjoy consuming media. From passing time to relating to others, media helps shape the way we enjoy our days, weeks, months, and years. Ethan phrased it well when he described the problems associated with having the internet in your pocket at school when he said, Without that self-control, it can be kind of hard to learn in the classroom. I love how Jeff phrased social media as this really cool alliteration, prevalent place that people park themselves these days, and how Andre called it a place he visits when he's bored, as I find these things true in my own life too. It was cool to hear how the redeeming qualities of media came up in interviews, from Jeff fixing his car thanks to a YouTube video, or Andre learning woodworking tricks on Instagram, or Ethan getting closer with his friend while watching media. I also loved when we touched on some of the dangers of media, how it can be addicting, reality warping, and is one of the leading causes of self-harm in recent years. I'll have to say more on how it affects our mental health soon, but for now, I would just like to thank you very much for watching and have a great day.